Hi, this is Dory with Prairie Scraps, and I'm glad you joined me today for Make It Monday. And actually, this is something that I'm just going to show you a remake that I did of a vintage suitcase. So I'm glad you joined me. Like I said, please feel free to subscribe and comment below if you have any questions or comments about this fun little makeover of this vintage suitcase. So I am actually out in my piano studio because it's easier for me to kind of get around and show you this suitcase. I actually can't really take credit for this. A couple Saturdays ago, I was with my family thrift store shopping, and my 15-year-old son said, "Hey, did you see the suitcases?" And I'm like, "Of course I haven't yet." So he showed me, and I've been looking all summer long for vintage suitcases so that I could redo them and sell them at our craft fair. As we get into November here, we've got actually one craft fair in November and one craft fair in December, and all of the proceeds for those craft fairs are going to help my son on a 4-H trip to Japan. So it's pretty exciting when I can score a decently priced suitcase. They've always sold really well for me in the past, and so this time I love the blue of this one. Sometimes people have painted them. I know even though this one has some gashes on them, you can kind of see them right up here near the top. I decided to go ahead and leave this one. I like this blue. I cleaned it up. I think it looks really nice and clean. I used a magic eraser and just a cloth to kind of clean it off, and I think it looks pretty good. So it's a good size one. If you can tell by my piano bench like what size it is, it's pretty good size. I would say it's about 3 feet wide by 2 feet tall, and the handle's in great shape. It all works and all the locks come open. In fact, kind of funny was one of my kids tried to open it up and could not get it to open. I'll show you in a minute, but because she didn't know how to use those locks. Clearly we have done something. Oh, I've got another treasure in here I found, and I'm planning on redoing. So anyway, the inside is in very great condition. It doesn't smell really bad. I do see a little bitty stain here. I'm going to probably try to take a cloth to that and clean that as well. See if I can't just get that little stain out of there. The only other thing that's wrong with it is everything else looks good. The pockets are all in great shape. So I'm going to leave this as is, and all I see is that the adhesive is coming off on these pocket corners just on the two sides. And so I think what I'm going to do is use some E6000 along with some hot glue to just tack those down and put them back where they belong, and hopefully they'll just look okay, because I think if I don't have to do anything to the inside, I think all the better. It just kind of makes it more original. So what I did was I took my Chalk Couture Simply Blessed, and I'm not going to show you exactly how I did it because I've got several other videos. Please feel free to watch those videos on how to use the Chalk Couture and how easy. This was probably the biggest one I've ever used. It's called Simply Blessed. And you can see there's the wreath comes in gray, and then you do this, it's multi-stepped. So I did the wreath in gray, and then I kind of pulled it away. The Simply Blessed is in the middle, so that I did in white, but I first pulled away all the gray so it didn't get stuck or start pulling off or dried too much. Then I put the white in the middle and then pulled the whole transfer off. It is a silk transfer, so it really gets great detail. It doesn't have the broken up that stencils have. And then the next thing I did was there's 4 different kinds of these cotton flowers in the white. So I did those. So actually this was number 1, and I started with number 1, and I kind of spread it out, number 1 right here and number 1 right there. And then I did number 2, and I think number 2 is this one with this little indent, this one, and then this one. So I did those all in white. So I went through one by one and did 3, 3, kind of spread them out, 4, 4, and 4. Then the second to last thing that I did was there's a little stem overlay that goes over each of the flowers, and it's each different. So then I tried to remember which ones went to which. I think one I got messed up, but the rest I was pretty good about getting the correct stem to go with it and tried to blend it in. So that was a little more difficult for me. The last thing that I did was I went back and I put these leaves on. So do you see those leaves? There's one there, there's one there. those were more difficult to try to figure out which way to put them. There was some branches, and I didn't want to put a whole bunch more white. I think it looks just beautiful. And then, of course, last but not least, I just squished my bow, but I made a little burlap bow from Dollar Tree ribbon, and then I actually this might be a Walmart ribbon right here, a gray chevron to kind of tie in the gray on the branches, as well as this is just a little white velvet ribbon I just tied on there. So nothing really fancy, but it just kind of adds to it. Whoops, it's not even laying right because I played around with it now. But so you can see there is my Simply Blessed suitcase. I picked it up at the thrift store. I think we paid $3 for it, or $3.99 for it. And I haven't totally decided. Everybody always asks what my pricing is going to be at my craft fair. I think I would really like to get 35 to 40 out of it, but I'm not exactly sure. So I'd love to hear what you think it would go for in your area. I know it's always different. Maybe that'll give me an idea of what to price it as. I think pricing is always difficult, but like I said, the entire amount, even though that's quite a markup, and it really didn't take, it took me under an hour to do this. Probably washing the screens took me longer than actually putting the screen print on there or deciding what to do. That was my other part. So this is what I'm going to do for this vintage suitcase makeover. And the final step, besides getting those inside pockets all put together, is I'm going to use a clear spray on the front so that this doesn't scrape off or come off. So I'll just use a clear polyurethane spray and spray it before I sell it, because I don't want somebody to get it home and have scratched up or whatever. So let me know what you think. I love doing the suitcases. I don't know, I just love the suitcases. I know I contemplated painting this because it does have a few little nicks, but I think nothing is really major. Kind of adds to the character. But I'd love to hear what you have to say. Again, make sure that you subscribe. I've been enjoying all the comments that have been posted, and I try to respond to all of them. So thanks for joining me. See you again soon.